Hello and welcome back to shop vlog number 50. I don't really keep track of milestones in this series, but I can't believe I've done 50 of them. But it's really interesting because the start of this series was really the transition of me settling into this space the first time, kind of seeing that initial transformation and building up everything that I've done since. And now at number 50, it's the beginning of me kind of reimagining my space for the future and almost starting over again. So at the top, I did just want to recognize and acknowledge that this is a pretty big accomplishment. And it's also kind of the start of a next chapter and evolution. So with that, I have a couple of things to update on to open this back up. First and foremost, another display update. After I took these down out of the garage, I knew I wanted to use one as a display fan for this year, but I needed to get it cleaned up, and then I wanted to do another better video of at least one of these in the studio. So I knew I was going to use this here, but I wasn't ready to get it up in the last video. And then after I was done with the video, I took it right out of the studio and moved it over here. So anyway, this is up, and it's one of those that is hanging probably slightly lower than I would prefer, but I couldn't find any down rods that I already had cut that would make it any better. And it's not bad enough that I really wanted to cut a new one. So I did put it on a ball socket, which raised it up an inch or two, whatever that is, and it's going to be good enough. The upsweep at the end of the blades helps it at least feel a little less imposing as opposed to a straight blade model, which would look really low. So that's really the only update there. The other thing I've really been doing is some cleaning and reorganizing and condensing things down and finding stuff to get rid of. Cleanup week is coming up, so I have a whole little section over here of parted out stuff that's going to go out for that. I cut down and got rid of a bunch of the cardboard that was sitting over here. I got this table pretty much cleaned off, and I did take the other boards out just to condense it down so I wouldn't be tempted to throw more stuff on it. The stuff on here right now really just has to go over to my condo. These are some wall packs I acquired from Maxim to upgrade our outdoor lighting at the building. We're trying to make some other decisions on outdoor improvements, so I'm just sitting on these for the time being. But they do not need to be here. They can definitely go to my storage over there. And then I think ultimately this table is probably going to get thrown down there as well. I like this table a lot and don't really want to get rid of it, but it is not part of my functional space planning going forward, so I do need to get it out at some point. Same with the chairs that go with it. I don't want to get rid of them, but they really can't stay here. The top of this thing has been an absolute disaster pretty much since I moved in here. It's just been a place where I throw spare down rods and screws and pull chains and all kinds of random hardware. Finally got a lot of that organized out and cleaned up. This section over here is definitely the next part to get in order, but I was able to set up a nice shipping station here for orders from my website. The initial goal, and still kind of the ultimate goal, would be to move this to my office at the condo. However, the mail pickup situation is just a lot easier and safer from here, so I'm still kind of torn about it, but for the security of my packages, I think this is going to be better. And I got inventory and some supplies stashed away here, so it's all in one place. I can pretty much wrap and pack everything right here. So again, one of those nice things to just have done. Before this, I had the shipping set up over here, but I tend to throw stuff in the way over here all the time, so it wasn't an ideal setup. And there was also never really room to package the items and things like that. So this is just much cleaner and easier to use. This right here is really the remainder of all the stuff that was sitting on top of that cabinet. Most of this will be pretty easy to get organized out into other areas. It's just some random stuff that I didn't have existing container space for or things like that. Back in this area, as I start to figure out the actual logistics of how I'm going to flip all this stuff, I cleared off and condensed one of these shelves so that I could use it for an experiment, and that is what you see over here. If I'm going to put all of this stuff in the back, I need it to be accessible and organized. I have a lot of things that I need to just combine and make something out of the best parts. And in order to pull things out and make that happen, I cannot have things sitting in piles like this. Not to mention the hanging storage needs to be entirely accessible. So I needed to figure out how I was going to do this, and I think this execution is pretty successful. I won't be able to necessarily store this many large things on top. These were basically just sitting on top of the box fans over here, and I needed to move them in order to actually do this. The beauty of this is that I can reuse some of the existing equipment that I already have for a new purpose. As I go about figuring out how to display some of my new in-box stuff, that'll open up some of this existing space, and then a lot of the existing stuff on these units that I already have will either be displayed or can redisperse onto the other shelving. And then these specific shelving kits are relatively affordable. I think I'll probably need a few more, but as long as they're on wheels, I can sandwich them really close together. And then realistically, to reach anything on the ceiling, I'll only have to move 1 or 2 carts at a time. So I was really excited to discover that this works so well. It's really not wasting any space at all. Even between wide and narrow cabinets, you can really make it work pretty efficiently. So this aspect is really a weight off my shoulders because I was really stressing out trying to figure out what I was going to do back there. I think this is the last part of updates for now. Some of the test components I got for the new setup on the display side have started arriving. I got a few different things to try based on the dimensions of boxes that I have. I can measure and visualize things all day long, but until I actually put things on and try it, I don't really know for sure what's going to work. So I've started putting this first one together. The idea with pretty much all of these is that I should be able to display boxes on each side. These ones are 36 by 30, and then I have some that are 36 square, which will allow enough space for some of these wider boxes to fit. Plus also have room for another box on the other side. I don't have very many of these wider boxes, so I'm thinking I'll only need 1 or 2 of those wider units, and the rest will probably be the smaller ones. Initially, I was hoping to be a little bit further along in experimenting with this, but the day got a little away from me. I don't have a ton more time to spend tonight, but I do want to see if I can get a little bit further in this first one. Hopefully get a little bit better idea of how things are going to lay out. So I'm going to see what I can do, and I will try to check in before I leave. Okay, I'm just about at the end of my time, and this is where I've gotten to. I've discovered a few things. First and foremost, setting these up to display outward can be either very easy or incredibly difficult. I may have made a mistake starting with this hunter box, but it's one of the tallest boxes I have, so I really wanted to get it worked in initially, but that caused me to really struggle with this first shelf, trying to find things that would fit right. It's still not exactly great, and I can probably rework this side to make it better. For the moment, I had spent too much time, and I needed to just move on and see if it was going to get any better. And from there, it did get immensely better. The next one, I started with this Academy. I measured what space I had left for the other side and immediately found the jade. With that stuff pulled out, I had freed up this Mykonos, so I figured I would go there. Measured again, saw I needed something approximately 14 by 14 and pulled out the Duluth. As you can see, it's not optimized perfectly, but I needed to get shelving long enough to accommodate a variety of boxes. And even in the back, while it looks well optimized, it's not necessarily, since I have everything pulled forward to the front of the shelf. There are all kinds of gaps along the back side, so I have to keep that in mind. Even back there, it wasn't perfect. I don't necessarily mind having these little gaps and things because I can put smaller boxes or accessories there. I always need more space for small memorabilia items. Oh, and then I also just remembered I was going to show you, I got these accessory hooks. And I'm just going to put this on so you can get an idea. But my idea for that is my little bag stand is entirely full, so I can use these to do some of this business off the side. So there will be a lot of different ways that I can kind of zhuzh these up. Right now it's really just about making sure I'm on the right path, that this is going to work. And after doing the first one, I wasn't so sure, but doing these upper ones, I'm feeling much more confident about it. I generally like how this lays out, and I like the front and back aspect, but I'm also just trying to decide if I go with narrower shelving and just do a single layer and put 2 shelves back to back for better versatility. I'm also thinking for future ones, I'm going to get shorter poles. I went a little longer because I'm trying to optimize, obviously, as much vertical space as I can, but I also don't want things to get too high and block all the views of the display. So I already have 2 sets of these ones. What I'll probably end up doing is positioning these ones kind of here at the back, and then over in this section I can do lower ones. Because even with shorter ones, I could layer 2 boxes on top, or I could just do 1 box and maybe put some portable fans on top. There's a lot of possibilities, and I don't necessarily need 4 shelves to be able to do that and make good use of the space. This was also helpful in determining how many shelves I need to get per unit going forward. Obviously that big box on the bottom kind of spread this one out, but even then I don't think I'm going to need 4. I may factor in having a couple of spares in case there's one where they're all just really skinny and I could do 4. I do also get a bulk discount buying a whole case of 4, so they're probably going to be in 4s anyways. But I can just buy an extra set of poles and split out the extra shelves and create another unit. So I was a little downtrodden at first, now I'm getting excited for the possibilities again. Plus there's another aspect of this that I haven't even shown yet. I wanted to make sure this stuff was going to be a go before I even presented anything else. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you that now. I found a source to get 4-wheel dollies like this relatively cheap, and this was the very first aspect that I experimented with. I'm not sure if anybody has maybe noticed the stack of originals in the background anywhere, but this is kind of an example of the vision for those. This is a little less convenient than the shelving to get to whatever might be on the bottom, but even then I only have to move 2, maybe 3 boxes to access that. Again, I'm also thinking I could stage other stuff on top of this, portable fans, memorabilia, etc. So these may not even be stacked that high, but they are extremely efficient and definitely give off showroom vibes in my opinion. I would love to just simply stack on the floor, but I don't want to do that on the bare concrete. And once again, with the display, I need everything to be mobile so I can access everything. So the idea is that the shelving units can kind of be centered in the area, and then those dollies can go on either side. It just adds different layers of visual interest. So it's still going to take a ton of work and planning going forward, but I think the potential is here for this to be really great. So I will be excited to keep playing with it and see how things start coming together. For now, I'm going to head out for the night, and I will see you back soon. Hello, I'm here already getting into the next video, but I did editing for what I had for this one last night and couldn't believe I already had a full video's worth, so I wanted to just stop in and close this one out before opening up the new one. Thank you to everyone